I want to start the video today by talking about a certain scene a few weeks ago I saw in the gym and what it made me think. Uh, Basically what happened was I just finished a workout and I think it was a leg workout, and I was trying to make myself keep standing up instead when I felt a little bit like sitting down and relaxing after the workout because, just for the sake of mental discipline. And there was a guy sitting on the couch not far from me because I was kind of in the lobby front desk area, and he had his cell phone and he was playing on his cell phone that song that goes, "We are the champions, my friend, we'll keep on fighting to the end." So as some of y'all may remember, that is the song they sang around the campfire at the end of the last Mighty Ducks movie when they had won the world championship and all the hard work was done. Nothing else to worry about. The victories won just as they were around the campfire and the credits came up. Like the good old-fashioned happily ever after. It's kind of ironic. What got me to thinking all the things I'm going to say in this video was the fact that, well, I had finished my workout and was standing up, still trying to make myself stand up, and kind of hearing a song that I had originally as a kid seen played in that sort of context, and remembered of that scene. Made me think, heck, that's not how you be a champion, accomplish an impossible feat, and then live happily ever after. The attitude of a real champion, and I'm not just bragging on myself here, but is to keep standing even after you think you've won, and to keep going. I'm not saying I am just an elite at that just because I was standing up after my workout and wanting to practice the discipline of not sitting down until I got into my car and was ready to go. There's people who probably train a whole lot harder than me, obviously, or else there'll be no such thing as the Delta Force, the Special Ops. People like that, professional athletes who can do all their crazy feats or just what have you. But it still got me to thinking about that, which got me to thinking about some other stuff. We all just want, this perfect ideal accomplishment where basically just whatever we think we'd have to pull off that's like an impossible thing but would just be our dream if we did, and life would be perfect if we did, and we've just whatever that is, and we've just kicked the world's ass, and then we get to sit down completely lazy and live happily ever after without ever having to have any courage again. That's just kind of everyone's dream because of the fairy tales we've been told, and it kind of messes with our lives and our thinking in a lot of ways. And when I started thinking about doing a YouTube video or putting these thoughts into a YouTube video tonight, it made me think of someone else's video. Mark Manson, the author, blogger, and digital nomad, one of his videos called "How Disney Ruined Sex for Everyone," and I finally, after about a year or so, watched that video again before making this one just to brush back up. But it's on his YouTube channel, Mark Manson, and basically what he says, extremely contracted and simplified, in a nutshell, is basically we not just Disney but all the stories we've been raised on in Western society talk about a knight or some sort of a hero or whatever knight, if you will, saving a princess, if you will, although most of the time that's not exactly literal, and he's got to accomplish an impossible feat, or he's unworthy of her, then he saves her, and they live happily ever after. And this screws with people's relationships and ability to enter relationships because they can't be these ideal characters, these ideal figures to each other. Another thing that's a commonly known fact, or at least should be anyway, is the fact that in dealing with relationships or other people of any sort, not just significant others, or any situations or life in general, we have a tendency to project our fantasies onto a person. Like, for example, you're marrying someone, you're really marrying them, not your fantasy, but your fantasy is what you project onto all you don't see about that person. That kind of keeps you blind to the fact that they're a person, they're not your fantasy, and that's who you're really marrying. That's just, relationships are just one thing. It could be, again, any person or situation or whatever we project our fantasy onto. And, to sum it all up, what I could really get to a point with about this that might actually have some meaning is this. Our fantasies are not real. They're just fantasies, but this void in us is there for a reason. It was meant to be filled, but it can't be with a fantasy because fantasies are fantasies. So don't deceive yourself. What it's really in is letting go of yourself and losing the sense of entitlement to your fantasies and not being able to live without them. That really helps you discover what you really need to fill that void with and find that fulfillment in. I know that's easier said than done, and sorry if that seems a little unspecific, but that's just a thought. If you want to be more practical, I guess you're going to have to play with it yourself a little bit. But anyway, that's all for this week. Thanks for listening.